player's time is now.
Hey, welcome to Attack the Stack. If you like that, try this.
My brothers and sisters of the United States of America, tonight.
Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus is an action-adventure first-person shooter developed by Machine Games and published by Bethesda Softworks. The game is set in an alternate history which takes place in 1961 following the Nazi victory in the Second World War. The story follows war veteran William B.J. Blazkowicz and his efforts to fight against the Nazi regime in the United States. A binary choice in the prologue alters the game's entire storyline. Some characters and small plot points are replaced throughout the timelines. The game features a variety of weapons, most of which can be dual-wielded. A cover system is also present. Continuing from the New Order, the development team aimed to characterize Blazkowicz for players to adopt his personality. Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus was released to a positive critical response. Particular praise was directed at the characters, narrative, shooting mechanics, as well as the general presentation of the game. The game was nominated for multiple year-end awards, including nominations at the 35th Annual Golden Joystick Awards and the Game Awards of 2017, the latter in which it received the accolade for Best Action Game. Painkiller: Hell and Damnation is a first-person shooter remake of and a sequel to Painkiller, developed by the Farm 51 and published by Nordic Games. The player has to get through each level from start to finish by slaughtering everything in the path. The game is divided into several chapters, each with several levels. Each level presents a new location with various themes and includes castles, monasteries, graveyards, and more. Several classic weapons return, including the Painkiller, the Stake Thrower, the Shotgun, and the Electro Diver. New guns are also available, such as the Soul Catcher, which shoots saw blades in primary firing mode and sucks the souls out of the enemies with its secondary firing mode. Painkiller: Hell and Damnation also adds several multiplayer modes to the series. The entire single-player campaign can be played by 2 people, and the level of difficulty adjusts in accordance with the 2 players, either through the number of enemies or hit points. In survival mode, up to 8 players battle for survival in a limited area of one map. Endless waves of enemy hordes will attack the player or players. Other player versus player base game modes include Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, Capture the Flag, and Duels.
It's time to set our plans in motion.
Impressive. You think you can catch a bullet too?
Rage 2 is a first-person shooter developed by Avalanche Studios in conjunction with id Software and published by Bethesda Softworks. Players assume control of a ranger named Walker, who is free to explore the game's apocalyptic open world. Players are given control over some of Walker's attributes, such as their gender, skills, or attire. Walker is able to wield various firearms and tools to fight against enemies, including returning weapons such as the wing stick. Players can develop Walker's skills with nanotrite-based powers. Through a mode called Overdrive, Walker's guns do more damage, enemies drop more energy, and they get healed constantly, providing players with an aggressive way to mow down enemies. Nanotrites from the first game, which act as special powers and ability boosts, can be used to increase combat efficiency. The game features vehicular combat, including trucks, buggies, and gyrocopters, with the player being able to drive any vehicle in the game's open world. Shadow Warrior is a first-person shooter developed by Polish independent development studio Flying Wild Hog and published by Devolver Digital. It is a reboot of the 1997 game of the same name, developed by 3D Realms and published by GT Interactive, licensed out by Devolver Digital, featuring the same character, Lo Wang, and a modern-era setting with Asian mythology elements, all of which were redesigned with modern, full 3D graphics and new gameplay features, while also being a throwback to classic first-person shooters. Players take control of the modern ninja mercenary Lo Wang as he fights through levels of demonic hordes. Wang is equipped with various firearms, some of which can be dual-wielded. These weapons include secondary firing modes that allow players to alternate between different modes or rates of fire. In addition to firearms, Wang's signature weapon is the katana. Different swings and strikes can be utilized depending on different input combinations. Wang can upgrade his abilities and weapons with multiple forms of in-game currency for different aspects. There are also key crystals that can be found hidden in levels that allow Wang to learn new powers and that can be used in combat. These new abilities are represented through tattoos on Wang's body. Upon its release, the game was met with generally positive reviews from reviewers and critics. Bulletstorm is a 2011 first-person shooter developed by Polish developer People Can Fly and the American company Epic Games, and published by Electronic Arts. The game is distinguished by its sense of style and crass humor, as well as excessive violence and profanity, rewarding players with points for performing increasingly ludicrous and creative kills. As a first-person shooter, Bulletstorm focuses on combat. Each weapon has an alternate fire mode, which uses charges. However, much of the story and gameplay puts focus on the energy leash, a rope of energy projected from a device on Grayson's left hand. The leash allows him to pull enemies towards him, activate certain devices and traps, and slam down a ball of energy that launches all nearby enemies into the air. The player can also kick enemies or run and slide into them. If an enemy is launched into the air from the whip or by being kicked or slid into, he goes into slow motion, allowing players to perform skill shots. Skill shot is one of the game's unique features in which it rewards the player points for killing opponents in the most creative and destructive ways possible. Points are used as currency at drop kits scattered across the planet to purchase firearms, ammunition, and upgrades. Upon release, the game received positive reviews from critics who praised the game's voice acting, characters, graphics, action, soundtrack, humor, and storyline. Hard Reset is a first-person shooter developed by Flying Wild Hog. The game features a cyberpunk plot within a dystopian world and draws inspiration from the works of William Gibson, Neil Stephenson, and Philip K. Dick to create its story, setting, and atmosphere. Hard Reset is modeled on video games such as Quake and Unreal, which results in more straightforward gameplay than most contemporary first-person shooters. Unlike those games though, the game lacks a multiplayer mode. The various stages in the game have secret areas with hidden pickups such as health and ammunition. The environments are designed similarly. There are explosive barrels and various vending machines outfitted with electroshock anti-vandalism defenses that can trigger splash damage by being shot at, scattered throughout the levels. The player can use these to their advantage by luring enemies near them. Unlike most old-school first-person shooters, which feature a liberal variety of guns and throwable weapons that can be stored in Magic Satchel-style inventory, Hard Reset features only two weapons, Modular Assault Rifle and the EEF-21 Plasma Rifle. Both weapons have unlockable firing modes, the Modular Assault Rifle including the option to strap add-ons such as grenades and rocket launchers, and the Plasma Rifle allowing railguns and stasis modules.
The most feared killers.
Space Hulk Deathwing is a first-person shooter developed by Strum On Studio with assistance from Cyanide and published by Focus Home Interactive. The game is set in the Warhammer 40,000 universe and based upon the turn-based strategy tabletop miniatures board game Space Hulk. It expands the gameplay environment beyond the narrow maze-like corridors of the original board game and earlier video games to include massive spaceship interiors such as a cathedral. The story is co-written by Gav Thorpe, a longtime Games Workshop author and games designer. In Space Hulk Deathwing's single-player campaign, the player is a librarian of the Dark Angels' first company of Space Marines. The Dark Angels Deathwing Company is unique amongst the rest of their chapter's companies in being composed of only Terminators. First Company veterans in each Space Marine chapter have earned the right to don the Sacred Tactical Dreadnought Armor or Terminator Armor, which provides more powerful weapons and tougher protection than the standard power armor donned by most Marines. Space Hulk Deathwing's campaign can be played solo or with up to 4 players in online co-op. The game offers several classes to play as, and players can unlock various upgrades, offering a deep level of customization.
Apparently there's another Syrian chamber beneath the Great Pyramid. We finally got an actual piece.
Serious Sam 3 BFE is a first-person shooter developed by Croatia-based indie development studio Croteam and published by Devolver Digital. It is part of the Serious Sam series and the prequel to Serious Sam: The First Encounter. The game takes place in 22nd century Egypt during Mental's invasion of Earth, as implied in The First Encounter. The game features a 16-player online mode, as well as a 4-player split-screen co-op campaign mode. Like previous titles in the series, Serious Sam 3 BFE involves fighting against many hordes of enemies in wide-open environments. However, Serious Sam 3 has more closed environments than its predecessors, particularly in the early levels. The player can carry an unlimited number of weapons. There are 13 weapons in total. The signature close combat weapons from the first game, the knife and chainsaw, have been replaced with a sledgehammer with 3 modes of attack. There's no regenerating health, instead there are health and armor power power-ups scattered throughout the levels that the player must pick up. Additionally, the levels are full of secret areas where health, armor, ammo, and in some cases, weapons from later levels can be found, following the tradition of the previous games. Some weapons such as the laser gun and the sniper rifle and their respective ammunition pickups are in fact secret only, and otherwise are not found in the levels normally. There are no puzzles, however, the player must find keys, pull levers, and find environmental anomalies to progress.
117, stand down. This is your one chance to come home peacefully.
I have a job to do.
Halo 5 Guardians is a first-person shooter developed by 343 Industries and published by Microsoft Studios. It is the 5th mainline entry and 10th overall in the Halo series. The game's plot follows two fire teams of human super soldiers, Blue Team led by Master Chief and Fire Team Osiris led by Spartan Locke. When the former goes absent without leave to track down the artificial intelligence construct Cortana, Master Chief's loyalty is called into question, and Fireteam Osiris is sent to retrieve him. New to the series are Spartan abilities, replacing the armor abilities of previous games. In-universe, the character's Mjolnir armor has been upgraded with various thrusters that allow them increased mobility options in all three axes of movement. They are context dependent and can be used for attack, defense, and evasion. Additionally, all Halo 5 firearms can be aimed by looking down their iron sights, a capability restricted to specific weapons in previous games. In the campaign, Halo 5 equips the player with a persistent fire team of NPC Spartans, which are present at all times and can receive limited orders using the controller. During cooperative play, other players assume control of these Spartans. Each Spartan has different gameplay attributes. Unlike previous first-person shooters in the Halo franchise, Halo 5 Guardians does not feature any offline multiplayer capabilities like split-screen cooperative campaign and multiplayer modes. It also does not have any local networking options. Upon release, Halo 5 received generally positive reviews from critics, with praise directed at its gameplay, visuals, level design, and multiplayer modes. Killing Floor 2 is a first-person shooter developed and published by Tripwire Interactive with later support from Saber Interactive. Killing Floor 2 can be played alone or cooperatively with up to 6 players. Biotech firm Horzine has attempted to create military clones and was hijacked by an insane researcher who unleashed the clones across the UK. Gameplay consists of players fighting through waves against Zeds, culminating to a boss fight as the final wave. Players equip themselves with melee weapons and firearms, a healing syringe, and a welder used to block passages. When players kill a Zed, they earn in-game money and experience points. Achieving certain types of kills, such as a headshot, may cause the game to enter Zed time, when all game actions for all players are slowed down for a few seconds. Players gain a monetary bonus for surviving a round, which they can use to buy and or sell body armor, ammo, and weapons at a store, also known as the Trader, between waves. Prior to starting a match, the player selects one of several perks or classes that represent basic combat classes like Field Medic, Commando, and Support. In the metagame, players can earn experience points for each of their perks by doing actions related to these perks. For every 5 levels gained, the player is able to select one of 2 specific skills unlocked for their respective perk. These skills include a mix of passive and active abilities, including some that can benefit other team members. If you liked the video or it helped you out, click the thumbs up button below. It really helps us out. If you think it could help others, share it. Of course, subscribe for more content like this and more. And if you have anything to add to our list, feel free to comment below. Thanks for watching and keep attacking.